Picture this, West Texas, heat simmering over the runway at El Paso. On the edge of Fort Bliss, three massive soft-sided structures rise out of the desert. First phase of a plan that could scale to 5,000 beds. That's the backdrop. Now the headline. The federal government has awarded a contract reported at roughly about $1.2 billion, with about $232 million funded up front to build and operate a tent-based immigration detention site on the Army post on behalf of DOD and ICE. Well, the prime is a small Virginia company called Logistics LLC. And before we go any further, let's set the tone and be very explicit. This isn't an accusation of wrongdoing. Rather, it's a recognition that what's happening here is unusual by government contracting norms, both on size, speed, and honestly on how little has been shared publicly so far. So let's get into a little bit of the storyline. The award lands. Construction activity starts quickly. Public reporting indicates the facility will ramp from about 1,000 beds to as many as 5,000 beds, potentially the largest immigration detention site in the country. But the deeper you read, the more atypical details pop up. The prime's past federal work is mainly smaller DOD logistics support. Nothing in the public domain shows experience running a 24/7 detention operation at this scale, nor the construction of this operation at this scale. There's no active website, and the listed headquarters is a private residence. Again, not a crime. A lot of times kind of the norm for small businesses, but it's just not the profile you usually see sitting atop a billion-dollar mission-critical O&M contract. Then there's a process, a solicitation process. The contract document itself hasn't been released publicly because of ongoing litigation. Reporting also notes that the language that routes press and even congressional inquiries through ICE, well, that's kind of weird right now. Seasoned contractors know you can have legitimate reasons for tight comms on sensitive work, but combine the hush-hush with the velocity of the solicitation and the scale and the small company, and it raises perfectly reasonable, nonpartisan questions about transparency and risk management. A protest, as you might imagine, is already on the board. Gemini Tech Services, a losing bidder, filed a GAO protest. That's not surprising. This kind of award invites scrutiny, even if it was a normal award. What matters for operators and subs is the clock. Protests can delay mobilization, change team math, or trigger corrective action that reshapes scope. If you live in the O&M world, you've seen what a GAO timeline can do to a warm bench and a lease you just signed. So why should business leaders and government contractors care? Well, beyond the drama of a big number. Because inside of this story is the clearest marker you're going to get all summer. First, capacity sells. Under FAR 9.1, a contracting officer has to determine that a contractor is responsible. On a mega ops award like this, think medical, security, food, service, sanitation, on and on and on and on. The bar isn't just, are you small and eligible? It's, can you actually run a small city in extreme heat, keep people safe, meet standards, and scale fast? Whether you're the prime or a sub, the lesson is simple. Document capacity and your capability like a company twice your size. Second, set aside optics just got sharper. Remember, it always rolls downhill. Big, high visibility wins by thinly documented primes have a way of tightening the screws on the next handful of set-asides. Expect deeper due diligence from contracting officers and evaluators. They're going to ask, who are your subs? What are the specific roles? How are you managing oversight? What's your escalation path? And where's the evidence that the whole machine runs under your load? If your headquarters is a house and your website is a single page, your paper better look like a NASA astronaut wrote it. Third, this is probably not a one-off. The administration is actively pursuing added detention capacity, and reporting suggests that other bases are being eyed for expansion. Whether or not this particular award changes after a protest, the demand for expeditionary infrastructure and 24/7 life support is here, and the Trump administration is pushing it forward. If you're in this type of arena, this is what you need to start looking at and going. The firms that win are already pre-wired for this type of work with credible partners and priced for sustainment, not just stand-up. This award sits outside the norm, and that's precisely why it matters. It's a neon sign pointing at where the work may go next and what evaluators will scrutinize when it does. If you can generally perform at this scale, package your capacity like a grown-up, bring serious delivery partners, and be ready to move. whether it's the next site online or a corrective action that reopens the door. And that's your 3-minute government contractor brief. If this helped, please give us a like, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned for the next update.